Eloise's mom has made me realize that there's somebody I've never introduced you to. This is Rebecca. She's about 2 years old. I made her all by myself. It took me 9 weeks because I was convinced that she was faulty when in fact she was perfect the whole time. I just moved into a new house and I haven't made a sourdough loaf here yet. So I thought, what a perfect time to try something that I've been wanting to try for ages, which is just freeballing some sourdough. Because the more that I have looked into sourdough and seen a billion different methods, the more I'm like, you can do anything, right? It's usually about 100 grams of sourdough starter, which for me is usually just like most of my mason jar of ripe starter. So I'm just leaving like a little bit to restart the next batch. It's literally just flour, water, and salt. It's usually about like 400 or 500 grams of flour, I think. So let's say like 4 cups of flour. And I feel like the main difference here is like if you have more flour and water to less sourdough starter, it's just gonna take longer for the bread to rise. I'm also trying to just make it in one day. So I want to bake this evening. We're gonna add a tablespoon-ish of salt. I'm gonna add warm water because I want to give her the best possible start to life because I'm trying to make this loaf in one day. I've seen really wet mixes, I've seen drier mixes, but I think most of the time you want it to kind of be quite shaggy like this to begin with. I'm just gonna add the rest of this water though. I feel like I have more success when it's like a little bit wetter. Too wet. Okay, she's looking pretty good. A little sloppy, but that's how I like it. I am gonna change it to a clear bowl so that you can like see the process. We're gonna leave her to autolyze for about 20 or 30 minutes, which is just like allowing the flour plenty of time to soak up all of the liquid and get nice and hydrated. What you don't want is for it to get crusty, so we're gonna cover it. I like to use this little thing. It's from Halo. It's like a food cover, and then I just like wet it a little bit. You can also just do a damp tea towel or a plate. See you in 20 minutes. All right, it's been 20 minutes. Here's our girl. You're gonna wanna wet your hands with cold water. And then we're gonna do stretch and folds, which is what you do if you cannot be bothered to knead. And once I learned this, I was like, why does anybody ever knead their bread? I'm realizing now this is a very hydrated dough. I'm sure it'll come together fine in the end though. I am genuinely convinced it will. We're gonna do 4 rounds of that, 20 minutes apart.